What's good, people? Welcome to the Faces and Heels podcast here on the KB Radio Network, your podcast for professional wrestling, namely WWE PLEs, where we recap and react to WWE's PLEs. But today is special because this isn't a special event. This is WrestleMania 42 or WrestleMania Vegas. It is upon us. And normally that is an exciting time of the year, the biggest show of the year, the Super Bowl of professional wrestling as it was promoted back in the day. And we're doing a preview and prediction show for WrestleMania 42, the two-night event. And I remember, 2020, when it switched over to 2 nights. And I was a little confused about it at first, but at first it was all right because you remember before that when they had 30 matches in one on one card in one night. And I finally remember, I can't remember the numeric number of this particular WrestleMania, but I do remember it was the WrestleMania where the Hardy Boys returned. Roman took on the Undertaker, and he gave us that fake retirement. It was a semi-retirement, but it was in Orlando, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, that WrestleMania, I remember it ended at around 12:30. it was super late. Now, I know those of you who watch AEW, you probably grown accustomed to that because their pay-per-views, they extend almost to 1:00 in the morning because they have 30 matches on every PLE. But that's not good for every single PLE. It was fine for WrestleMania because it was WrestleMania. You didn't care because every match had something behind it. And that particular WrestleMania, I was exhausted. I was straight up exhausted. It was the longest one that I can remember. It probably wasn't, but in my mind, it felt like it took forever. And so when they switched to the 2 nights, I was all right with it at first. Now, not so much. Now it just feels like we're doing 2 nights just to do 2 nights. And they also, SummerSlam now is 2 nights. I don't understand the 2-night thing. I don't get it, other than the fact that they're doing it for money reasons over there at TKO and WWE, but it's not needed. It's really not needed. You don't need to do 2 nights all the time. WrestleMania, cool, if you're going to stack the card. Now, looking at the card, it's stacked in comparisons to any other PLE from WWE, where we normally get 4, 5, if we're lucky, matches on the PLE. This one here, I think, have 13 matches. So it makes sense. But anyways, let me address the elephant in the room here before we get into WrestleMania 42. Let's talk about the lead up to WrestleMania 42. I'm not excited for this WrestleMania, and this is probably the first time I ever felt this way ever. I am not feeling this PLE at all. They got matches on it I want to see. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not excited. Nothing about it is exciting, and the reason is the build up, the stories going into this. It's trash. You got matches that were thrown together, and we're going to go over all of the matches, and of course, and how we got to this point where we're going to have a match at WrestleMania and whatnot, and they're all silly. I just don't like it. I don't like nothing about this WrestleMania other than one match. One match feels like a WrestleMania match. It feels like a big time match. It has the build to a WrestleMania match, and it's not for either one of the championships. It actually, it's one of the only matches on this 2-night event that has no title involved, and that is the match between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. That's the only match that feels like a WrestleMania match. Other than that, nothing else. Nothing. Everything else feels like a Raw match, a Backlash match, a Money in the Bank match. It nothing feels like WrestleMania, and that's a bad thing. That is a horrible thing. You have stupid reveals. You have it was just horrible. This was a horrible year. Ever since last year's WrestleMania, which wasn't great, but from that moment on till now, it has been hot garbage in WWE. I'm baffled by this, to the point I had to force myself to watch PLEs. I had to force myself to watch Raw, force myself to watch SmackDown. Normally, I would schedule things around that. Now it's like, okay, if I catch it, I catch it. If I don't, I don't. I'm more excited, at least I was more excited for NXT. I enjoy Stand and Deliver. NXT is more exciting. Why? Because it's story. There's story there. There's great matches there. There's phenomenal talent there. And now this is not a knock on the talent on the main roster, because all of these guys and gals are talented. But the story has been trash. It's embarrassing, actually. But I think I done rambled on too long. Is a million and one other things I can get into, but that'll be the whole show. So I'm not going to do that. There's a lot to go over, a lot of matches to go over, and there's no sense of prolonging the time. WrestleMania 42, live from Las Vegas yet again. Going back to back. They were just in Vegas. They were supposed to be here. Here being New Orleans, where I reside, at least in the suburban area. That's probably another reason why I'm mad, to be honest with you. Because I was excited WrestleMania was coming here. Because I've been to the last one that was here. I went to that was the WrestleMania where Roman Reigns took on Brock Lesnar for the championship. You had Scarlett Flair versus Asuka, Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. It was pretty dull WrestleMania. At least being there live. It wasn't as lively as the greatest WrestleMania of all time. It wasn't because I was in attendance. It's because I witnessed it firsthand. It was WrestleMania 28 in Houston. That WrestleMania was, my God, my ears are still ringing from that WrestleMania. That was The Rock and Stone Cold in the main event, and the infamous Stone Cold heel turn in that match. I was there to witness that, and I was there with my best friend, who's a Rock fan. I'm a Stone Cold fan, and so we're sitting in there, and when that happened, it was just I knew we were gonna have a problem on the ride home. And we did have a problem on the ride home. It was that bad, but it was an amazing WrestleMania. But I wanted WrestleMania to come back, especially for a 2-nighter. Wasn't going to go because of those ticket prices, but it would have been nice to go down and join in on the festivities surrounding the WrestleMania events, with the WWE World and stuff like that. But nope, no dice. But as a consolation prize, we will be getting Money in the Bank down here this year. So I guess that's good. We'll see how those ticket prices go. But I seriously doubt it. But it is going back to Las Vegas this year. before heading overseas next year to take place in Saudi Arabia. I'll see how that one turns out. But this WrestleMania will have a guest host, and the host of WrestleMania this year is none other than John Cena. This is how desperate WWE has gotten. They're not selling out, at least at the time of this recording. They haven't sold out either night of WrestleMania, so they're throwing everything at the wall to see what stick. The man just retired. He just retired. He just walked away from the ring. His boots and wristband is still sitting in the middle of the ring, and you have him coming back to host WrestleMania. It makes no sense, but nonetheless, this is what we're getting. 13. I think I misspoke earlier, or did I say 13? If I did, it was a guess, but we always, now is for certain. It's 13 matches. Night 1 will have the majority of the matches with 7. Night 2 will have 6. Night 1's card is the first match will be Division, which consists of Logan Paul and Austin Theory, along with I Show Speed. They will take on the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, along with L.A. Knight. Yeah, in a 6-man tag team match. The second match will be Jacob Fatu taking on Drew McIntyre in a unsanctioned match. Match number 3 will be for the Women's World Championship. Stephanie Becker will defend versus Liv Morgan. AJ Lee will put up her WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship versus Becky Lynch. And the 5th match, the Irresistible Forces, consisting of Nia Jax and Lash Legend, they will be defending their WWE Women's Tag Team Championship in a fatal 4-way versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria versus the Bella Twins. And I'm going to put an asterisk by that. I'll explain that a little later. Match number 6, you have Seth Rollins versus Gunther. And the main event of night 1, Cody Rhodes will defend the undisputed WWE Championship versus Randy Orton with Pat McAfee in his corner. We'll discuss that in a few, but let's move on to night number 2. The first match of the night, Obafemi will take on Brock Lesnar. Oh my God, I can't wait for that match. Match number 2 will be a 6-pack ladder match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. The champion, Penta, will defend against Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Rey Mysterio. That is an odd pairing. One of those names don't belong in that mix. And I'll let you guess which one. Match number 3 is for the women's WWE Women's Championship. Jade Cargill will defend versus Rhea Ripley. For the WWE United States Championship, Sami Zayn will defend versus Trick Williams. Singles match, the Demon, Finn Balor. Yes, he's bringing back the Demon. He will be taking on Dominic Mysterio in the main event of all of WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk, the best in the world, will take on the OTC Roman Reigns. Now, I will preface this by saying this episode is recorded a week and a half before WrestleMania, so a lot of things can change. Match cards can change, opponents can change due to injury or whatnot, things of that nature, or they can add a match or two. It's a possibility, and I bring that up because every single WWE Championship is on the line at WrestleMania, with the exception of one, and that is the WWE Women's United States Championship. I don't know why it's not on the card. I don't know why they didn't just even it out at 7 per night and just stick this in on night 2. Is a possibility that can happen with Julia taking on Tiffy time. That would make sense to me, but I'm not the booker. But it's odd that every other championship is on the line except that one. I mean, what's it gonna hurt? And also to be noted, both nights, the first 2 matches will be on ESPN, and I'm talking ESPN proper, the cable show. And so you can watch that regular, the first 2 matches of each night. And so, and I went in order. And so in night 1, the matches you would get on ESPN before it switches over to their streaming service is the Vision and I Show Speed versus the Usos and LA Knight, and also Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre in that unsanctioned match. Those 2 you can watch on ESPN. Everything else will be on their streaming service. For night 2, Obafemi and Brock Lesnar will be on ESPN, which is weird. That is a main event quality match. I don't know why they will just throw that on the ESPN side of it, but hey, I guess to hook people in, theoretically, it will hook me in. I'll tell you that much. That one's going to be on ESPN along with the 6-pack ladder match. So you can watch those 2 for free. Well, not free because you pay for cable, but you get my drift. So let's get into these matches. We're 20 minutes into the show. Hey, let's get into these matches. Let's begin. I don't even know. I don't even know where to go with this. Let's start with night 1, of course. Let's start with the 6-man tag team match. The Vision and I Show Speed versus the Usos and LA Knight. How this match came to be? Well, LA Knight has been beefing with the Vision for the majority of 2025. It was the Bloodline, but once that disbanded, they had him beefing with the Vision, which is kind of a subsidy of the Bloodline, if you add the Paul Heyman factor of it all in. But yeah, he's been beefing with the Vision. Mainly it started with Seth Rollins. This one, it was in its original form with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and none of them are there. At least Seth Rollins is back, but he's now beefing with the Vision. But Bronson Reed is out, injured. Braun Breaker is out, even though I just read that he was cleared. And so he may pop up. We'll see. He may pop up at WrestleMania. Or maybe before. Like I said, I'm preemptively recording this. But he wasn't the only one beefing with him. Jey Uso was beefing with him as well. Between his yeeting, he was beefing with the Vision. That prompted his twin brother Jimmy to join him and reuniting the Usos, which they needed to do. At that point, it had to happen because the singles run has ran its course. So you had to bring back the Usos. I think at WrestlePalooza, if I'm not mistaken, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed took on the Usos, and LA Knight was the special guest referee for that match. And of course, there were shenanigans involved, and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker defeated the Usos. And so we fast forward to October. Seth Rollins got kicked out the group. The Vision and Logan Paul, they defeated the Usos team at War Games, probably because Jay was yeeting for 20 minutes during the match. And we got an unknown assailant, the Masked Man, interfered in that match, and that's how Division won War Games. Logan Paul, at this point, he entered Division. He joined Bronson Reed in an attack on LA Knight on Raw in early December, taking him out of action for a little while. But during that absence, you had the unknown assailant being revealed. And it was none other than, wait for it, Austin Theory. Out of all the people. Nothing against all. I wanted Austin Theory to work. I actually liked Austin Theory. But I'm not feeling him in the Division. But anyways, he joined Division. The Usos won the World Tag Team Championship. Then we get to the Royal Rumble, and LA Knight returns. And when he returns, he eliminated Bronson Reed and Austin Theory from the Royal Rumble. Afterwards, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed were both injured. They suffered injuries, and they were out indefinitely at that point. So the Division was just cursed, bro. I think Danhausen showed up earlier than what they said because the Division has been cursed from its inception. But anyways, they were out indefinitely. Paul Heyman stated that both Logan Paul and Austin Theory should focus on winning the tag team championship. And on Raw, Paul and Theory, they defeated the Usos by disqualification, but it was a non-title match after Jay hit Austin Theory with a pair of brass knuckles. After this, the following week, a street fight for the titles took place when Paul attempted to use those brass knuckles again. However, he was stopped by LA Knight, who was the guest commentator for that match. I Show Speed, who was watching the match ringside, picked up the brass knucks and accidentally hit LA Knight. And so I Show Speed left the brass knuckles in the ring, which allowed Logan Paul to hit Jimmy with the knuckles and win the tag team championship for Division. And so 3 days later, LA Knight, and this probably was the best thing through this whole storyline. LA Knight popped up on I Show Speed's live screen and attacked him on the live stream. The following week on Raw, LA Knight faced Austin Theory. During the match, Paul shoved I Show Speed into LA Knight, and as Speed was trying to leave, the Usos attempted to prevent him from doing so. And Austin Theory, due to all the shenanigans going on, he got the win in the match. And after that, the Usos and LA Knight attempted to attack I Show Speed, who was saved by Logan Paul. After that, LA Knight called out Adam Pearce, the general manager of Raw, and they challenged Theory, Paul, and I Show Speed to face them and the Usos in a 6-man tag team match at WrestleMania 42. And of course, Adam Pearce made it official. And so this is how we got to this match. Let me start off by saying I don't care. I really don't care who wins this because it holds zero weight. This match holds no weight. Let me correct myself. A statement I made earlier. I said that the women's United States Championship is the only title not on the line. Also, the tag team championships are not on the line with Division. And so I wanted to correct that. They give respect where respect is due. But anywho, this holds no weight. Nobody wins. No matter who wins, nobody wins. LA Knight, I don't know what he did. I don't know who Cheerios he pissed on that morning when they decided to do this. But he has been buried, bruh. They are trying to bury him deep in the dirt. I don't get it. Why he doesn't have gold around his waist is beyond me. I don't care if it's the Intercontinental Championship, United States Championship, which he already had that. But it's time for him to be a heavyweight champion. It's time for him to be the WWE. It been time. When he was super over. Once again, going back to what I said, either he pulls the trigger too early or too late. He should have pulled the trigger 2 years ago with LA Knight and put the scrap on him, but he didn't. Now he's relegated to I don't know, a clown show. I Show Speed. All due respect to I Show Speed, but come on. Come on, really? But I gotta make a prediction. And so my prediction, who will come out victorious in this match, is gonna be the Vision and I Show Speed. You know why? Because I Show Speed is on that team. There's no other reason why. Now, logically, if you look at it and you look at the totality of this storyline, the Vision has been getting the upper hand on LA Knight and the Usos this whole little feud. And so they're due. And so this would be the moment to get their lick back. I don't think it's going to happen. But even if I'm wrong, I don't care. I have zero feelings about this match. Zero. But we shall see. I predict that the Vision and I Show Speed will win the 6-man tag team match. Let's move on to match number 2 of night 1, and that is the unsanctioned match between Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. This is going to be a slobber knocker, as good old JR would say. But as far as the story leading up to it, they kind of fumbled it because these two should be involved in the undisputed WWE Championship, because they've been involved with it the entire year. They've been hovering around it with Cody and the belt all year. And we get right up to WrestleMania and they say, nah, we're going in this direction. I don't have a problem with them battling each other, but it should be for an opportunity to face Cody for that belt. Of course, that's my opinion. But this is how it all came to be. Let's go back to 2025 yet again. Drew McIntyre, he began a rivalry with Jacob Fatu, who was being annoyed. He was aggravated with with Drew McIntyre because he always blamed others for his failures, especially after Drew McIntyre lost the undisputed WWE Championship match at WrestlePalooza. He blamed the ref. He blames this. He blames the weather. And it aggravated Jacob Fatu. And so Jacob Fatu announced his intentions to challenge for the title, and the match between Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu was scheduled on SmackDown in October, mid-October, somewhere up in there. And it was to determine who would be the number 1 contender for the title. And so that match never happened, because Fatu was found beat up backstage with McIntyre stating he didn't attack him. And to be honest with you, we still don't know who attacked. we don't know. We all assume it was Drew McIntyre. It all fits in Drew McIntyre's MO, but it was never blatantly stated. But anyways, Jacob Fatu, he took a hiatus. McIntyre continued after the title, and in January on SmackDown, Drew McIntyre won the title after Jacob Fatu returned and interfered in the match, which wasn't his intentions. Pretty much the opposite of what took place, or what he wanted to take place. But Drew McIntyre won the belt, which was a shock. It was a shock heard around the world, because everybody assumed, oh man, Drew McIntyre is going into WrestleMania as the champ, which is cool. I was all for it, because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a triple threat match. It's going to be Cody, Jacob Fatu, and Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. All right, this is going to be a banger, but I'm not on the creative team at WWE. But the rivalry between Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu, it started to intensify, of course. Jacob Fatu, he believed Drew McIntyre was the one that attacked him backstage. So on SmackDown in February, Drew McIntyre interfered in Jacob Fatu's Elimination Chamber qualifying match, which cost him that match because he didn't want to face him. If he went on to win the Elimination Chamber, and then he would have to face him at WrestleMania. So he was playing chess. Drew McIntyre was playing chess, eliminating his competition. Jacob Fatu, he competed in another qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. I think the following week or maybe 2 weeks later, something like that. But Drew McIntyre once again interfered and cost him that match. So the following week after Elimination Chamber, which this was dumb for a lot of reasons, but Drew McIntyre took on Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship on SmackDown, and Jacob Fatu, he interfered in the match, and he cost Drew McIntyre the title, and Cody Rhodes became the undisputed WWE champion. And now, what made this dumb? Cody Rhodes lost the title in January, and he competed in the Royal Rumble. He lost. He went to the Elimination Chamber. He lost. How did he get a championship match the next week and won? Make that make sense. What's the point of the Elimination Chamber and the Royal Rumble? What was the point? If you was gonna make a match for him anyway, it made no sense. And that's what got me mad. I'm not upset the fact that Drew McIntyre isn't the champion going into WrestleMania. That's fine. I would have liked that, of course, but no, it didn't happen. Cool, but at least make it make sense. Don't randomly have a title match. And I mean, it wasn't even a full week, people. Elimination Chamber was Saturday. Friday, he had a match. It wasn't even a full week yet. I don't get it. I don't get it. And what makes matters worse, Drew McIntyre cost Cody the match at Chamber, which led to that match. That's how they kind of excused it away. No. I'm not buying that. I'm not accepting that. I can't. Sorry, I can't. But here we are nonetheless. And so back to Drew and Fatu. Drew, he came out, he interrupted McIntyre. McIntyre was cutting the promo, demanding a rematch. However, Jacob Fatu came out and he took blame for costing Drew McIntyre the title and asked what Drew would do about it. And so Drew McIntyre, he turned to Nick Aldis and said, "I quit." He quit quote unquote quit SmackDown. He left the ring. However, he returned later on that night once again and interfered and cost Jacob Fatu his match. And so a match between the two was scheduled the following week. However, the match never happened because both men began brawling at the beginning of that episode all the way to the end. A few weeks later, the same thing happened. Another confrontation between the two. Nick Aldis, at that point, he had enough, and he scheduled a match at WrestleMania. However, Nick Aldis stated that WWE would not be responsible for anything that would happen between those two. And so the match would be unsanctioned. And that's how we arrived at this unsanctioned match between Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. I'm not a big fan of the story behind it. If the title wasn't involved in it, well, let me take that back. Yeah, you kind of needed the title involved in it, but not to the point where you lose the title and you're losing number one contendership spots and all this here, and it not play a factor into this match as far as whoever wins this match is next in line for either Cody or Randy or whatever, that wasn't stated. So if that's the case, all right, cool. Make this, say that, solidify that this is a number one contenders match. Whoever comes out, whoever survives, I guess I should say, whoever survives this match is the number one contender. I will have a little more excitement about it, but I don't know. I don't know if that's the direction they're going to go in. But taking that out of it all, as far as the match itself, I think it's going to be a slobber knocker, and I think it's going to be probably one of the better matches on this card for night one. And so I'm going to pick the winner of this match to be Jacob Fatu. It's time to scrap the rocket to his back. It's time to put some gold around his waist. They gave him the United States Championship for like a month, maybe 2 months. I don't forgot how long that reign was, but it wasn't long. But it's time to do something more with him. He's super over. He's amazing in the ring. He can cut a promo. He does it. He does it all. But we've been proven that just the aforementioned LA Knight, that doesn't mean nothing. It means absolutely nothing. But fingers crossed. My prediction, Jacob Fatu will come out victorious in this match. Match 3 for night 1 of WrestleMania 42. That's a lot of numbers, boy. We have the singles match for the Women's World Championship. Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan. The winner of this year's Royal Rumble, or the Ladies Royal Rumble, she had the opportunity to choose who her WrestleMania opponent will be, which championship she'll go after, either Stephanie Vaquer's championship or Jade Cargill's. So over a few weeks, she appeared on both Raw and SmackDown to confront both Jade Cargill and Stephanie Vaquer, and it led to numerous altercations. But on Raw in mid-February, the Women's World Champion, Stephanie Vaquer, she interrupted Liv Morgan's interview and chastised her, claiming that Morgan had been handed everything throughout her career, and that if she chooses her, Liv Morgan would not win that match. And this promo left Liv Morgan crying. She was literally in tears after this chastising from Stephanie Vaquer. And so the following week, Liv Morgan, along with both champions, Stephanie and Jade, Liv Morgan attacked Stephanie Vaquer and posed with the title, officially declaring that she would challenge Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 42. I think this is going to be a sneaky good match. I think this is... I like Stephanie Vaquer. I'll go as far as say love for a number of reasons. But I love her in the ring, and she is phenomenal. She's getting better on the mic as well. I'm really enjoying what Stephanie Vaquer is handing out to us. Liv Morgan, I had to come around to Liv Morgan, and I finally came around a couple of years ago when I think it was after she won Money in the Bank and she beat not Rhea Ripley, Ronda Rousey for the belt. And from that moment on, I kind of just, I thought it was a little novelty thing, but it really, she really earned it. She really earned it. And I think that's the driving force behind this match. Now this match, I feel some emotion behind it. Not because Liv cried and all that there, but I mean real emotion because Stephanie Vaquer, if you know her story and where she started and what she went through, what she fought through to get to this point, this is her dream to be in WWE, to win a championship, to perform at WrestleMania. She fought her entire life to get to this moment. And so did Liv. If you don't know her story, her backstory, what she was fighting through to get to the point where she's one of the better women performers in WWE. Now, I'm not putting up there with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley and all this here as far as, in-ring talent-wise, but the total package, wrestling, she's willing to put her body on the line for anything. I mean, she was the MVP of the Elimination Chamber a couple of years ago. I mean, she went through it, dog. That was an amazing performance at that PLE. And numerous times prior to that, even after that, I've become a big fan of Liv Morgan. With all that being said, who will come out victorious in this match? This one is a tough one, but I think I'm going to go with Liv. I think it's going to be Liv. Even though I know that Stephanie Vaquer is the babyface going into this, and she's the champ, and WWE has put a lot behind Stephanie, I think Liv. I really think Liv. I wouldn't be shocked either way, and I wouldn't be upset either way. Either way is a good choice, but I really feel Liv in this moment. Because thinking back, I don't think Liv has had her WrestleMania moment. I could be mistaken because WWE has been forgettable the past couple of years, and she could have had her moment at last year's WrestleMania. I don't even remember it, but it's due. She's due for this big moment, man, and I really want her to have it. As long as they put on a banger match, which we know they both can do. I know they're going to perform their behinds off, especially Stephanie. Stephanie is going to give us about 50 devil's kisses. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. But I think at the end of the day, and I'm flipping a coin at this point, but I'm going to go with Liv Morgan will be your new women's world champion. We now move on to the women's Intercontinental Championship, AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. This all started because of their husbands, real life husbands, CM Punk and Seth Rollins, going all the way back to September of last year when Becky Lynch put her hands on CM Punk. CM Punk said, "I'm not going to put my hands on you, but I got somebody that will." And the long-awaited return of AJ Lee into the WWE happened on SmackDown, where AJ Lee put the SmackDown on Becky Lynch, which led to a mixed tag team match at WrestlePalooza. AJ Lee forced Becky Lynch to tap out and submit in that match. AJ Lee went on I don't know what you call it, a hiatus, a little vacation after that, which I imagine so. I mean, the woman haven't wrestled in over, 10 years? That was her first wrestling match. And I'm pretty sure she was banged up, sore, and everything else because she took some pretty gnarly bumps during that match. But she went on a hiatus, yet she returned in November on Raw. She distracted Becky Lynch. That cost her the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Maxine Dupree of all people. But they later went up against each other at Survivor Series War Games when both women were part of the opposing teams. In the women's War Game match, AJ Lee team won yet again when AJ Lee forced Becky Lynch to submit yet again. And so Becky Lynch, she ended up retaining her title on Raw. I think in January. I believe, yeah, it was in January, and Becky Lynch ended up losing the title at the Elimination Chamber when AJ Lee submitted yet again Becky Lynch for a third time, crowning AJ Lee the new WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion. Uh, Becky Lynch, she attacked AJ Lee on Raw after she defended her title against Bailey, I believe that was. Uh, she returned yet again, she being Becky Lynch, and attacked AJ Lee the following week. Becky Lynch stated that she wanted her title back. AJ Lee told her she'll have her rematch only if it's at WrestleMania, and Becky Lynch agreed. And so the match was made official for night one. Here we are, AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. This is probably the easiest prediction on the show. I'm willing to put money on this one, and I'm gonna go with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch will retain or gain back her Women's Intercontinental Championship. Number one, AJ Lee is a part-timer, unless things change. She's a part-timer, for one. Number two, she has defeated Becky Lynch not once, not twice, but thrice, all by submission. And I can't see it happen for a fourth time. It's bad enough they're fighting for a fourth time, but cool. If we're going to have the blow off, if we're going to have the rubber match, which should have been the third one, but if we're going to have the blow off, let it happen at WrestleMania and let it be for a title. It makes sense in that regards. But I think Becky Lynch will get the upper hand. She can't beat her every single time. The whole point of a feud or a rivalry is going back and forth. That's the sheer definition of a rivalry, is back and forth. There's no back. There's just been fourth, and the fourth being AJ Lee. And so I think AJ Lee will fall in this in her triumphant return to WrestleMania. But I think it's going to be a decent match. I really think it's going to be a really good match. But ultimately, Becky Lynch will come out victorious in the new Women's WWE Intercontinental Champion. And speaking of 3 times in a row, we get 3 women's matches in a row. We had the Women's World Championship, we had the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship, and now a fatal 4-way tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. The Irresistible Forces put their titles on the line versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, Bailey and Lyra Valkyria, and the Bella Twins. Now, I said earlier that I'm putting the asterisk by this one. And the reason we're putting the asterisk by it, Brie Bella is hurt. She's hurt currently at the time of this recording. And the status of her availability at WrestleMania is question mark, question mark, question mark. So it's not etched in stone that the Bella Twins will be a part of this match. Now, WWE have 2 options here. You could either scrap the Bella Twins and make this a triple threat for the tag team championship, or you can add Io Sky or the Kabuki Warriors. You know, not Io Sky, but the Kabuki Warriors with Asuka and Kairi Sane. And so I don't know what they're gonna do here in the event that the Bella Twins are unable to compete in this match. But at the end of the day, and I'm not even going to go to the lead up for this one because it's whatever. But it's not. This is probably the least exciting match in all of WrestleMania 42, and I'm talking both nights combined. I am not looking forward to this match at all. No matter who they add or subtract, I am not looking forward to this. I like all the participants. I just don't like the match. And the women's tag team championships have been a dud for years. It has crashed and burned in historic fashion. Started off hot, but not so much in the last 2 to 3. It's just been not interesting. There's nothing about those belts that make me gravitate to this division. I wish it was better, because they deserve it. They being the women, they deserve to have a championship of that caliber and have teams and compete in this division. But it's not the women, it's the creative, and I haven't been hyped up for any of it. It's good to see Lash Legend a part of this. I think Lash Legend is a future champion, singles champion, whether it's the women's championship or not. I don't know. We'll see down the line, but she has that it factor. I think. I really think she can be a factor in the women's division. The future. But the team of her and Nia Jax, just looking at it logically, doesn't make sense. They should, of course, they're dominant. They're the most powerful women in WWE. Literally, they are the strongest women. They're unstoppable. Now, they're probably going to lose these belts in this match. Now, to who? If I had to guess, and this is a pure guess, this is not a prediction, this is a guess. If I had to guess, I'm gonna go with Bayley and Lara. That's who I'm gonna go ahead on and hitch my wagon to them. And I'm just throwing throwing the name out there. It could easily be the Bellas if they compete. It could easily be Charlotte and Alexa. If I don't know, but it's something about Bayley. I think they owe Bayley a WrestleMania moment, especially after last year. Was it last year or the year before? She got kind of screwed out of her moment. Or not kind of, she got screwed. So I don't know. It with Lara. It was supposed to be her and Lara. I think it was last year. Like I said, time is blurred now. With with everything that's going on in WWE. I don't know which end is up, but I think it's going to be them who's going to go over in this match. So my prediction is going to be Bayley and Lara. They will become the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. All right, let's go to the 6th match of the night one. That is, and it's a singles match, no titles involved, just a grudge match, and it is Seth Rollins versus Gunther. And here's the lead up to this epic showdown at WrestleMania. On Raw, a couple of weeks ago, Gunther, he showed up unexpectedly and attacked Seth Rollins, pointed at the WrestleMania sign, and it was made official. That was it. That's the lead up. There's no story in this match. There is nothing. Now, a lot of this is because Braun Breaker got hurt. Braun Breaker was supposed to take on Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Braun Breaker got hurt. But Braun Breaker, according to reports, has been cleared to wrestle. And so Braun Breaker could involve himself in this match, in attack Seth or whatever the case may be. Or, like I said, I'm recording this early, and they could make it a triple threat match, on Raw or SmackDown the week leading up to WrestleMania. I don't know. But that would be stupid, too, because why is Gunther involved? It makes no sense. The fact that Gunther had to wait until the end of March, and I mean the dead end of March, to get a WrestleMania match after he retired Goldberg last year. He retired John Cena last year. He was the longest reigning Intercontinental champion. He was the former world heavyweight champion and didn't have a WrestleMania match until 2 weeks ago is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And he only got this match due to somebody else's misfortune. They got hurt. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had a match. It makes no sense. This match makes no sense. Now, do I want to see it? Of course. Gunther is amazing. He's one of the best professional wrestlers in all of wrestling currently. I don't care what promotion you're looking at. He's amazing. Seth Rollins, one of the best sports entertainers in all of wrestling. So this should be a very good match. I believe this is going to be a banger. Probably a sleeper 5-star match. Just not interested because it's just a random match. Random as random can be. Who will win this match? I'm going to go with Gunther. You can't kill his momentum. He retired John Cena. He just retired John Cena. He retired AJ Styles. I left him out. He just retired AJ Styles. He is killing careers. And you're going to have Seth Rollins beat him at WrestleMania in a random match? I don't buy it. So I'm going to go with Gunther coming out victorious in this match. So that leads us to the undisputed WWE Championship match that will main event night 1 of WrestleMania 42. Cody Rhodes puts that title on the line versus Randy Orton with Pat McAfee in his corner. That alone, that statement alone should make you want to cry. But how did we get to this match? Well, at the Elimination Chamber, Randy Orton came out victorious. How did he come out victorious? He pinned Cody Rhodes. So he pinned Cody Rhodes, won the Elimination Chamber match, and it looked like he was going to take on Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, which would have been a nice match. But unfortunately, 5 nights later, Cody Rhodes ended up winning the WWE Undisputed Championship. And so there you had that. Now, if you want to go back even further, there's been little nuggets, little Easter eggs laid out with this kind of turn from Randy Orton and Cody when Cody was holding the title in his previous run. He looking at the belt, constantly looking like he's going to hit an RKO out of nowhere on Cody and stuff like that. It just looked like they were on the precipice of this feud boiling over. Now, they both were a part of a stable back in the day, if you remember, or if you're old enough to remember, The Legacy. Remember when it was Randy Orton, it was Cody Rhodes, and it was, I'm forgetting the other guy. I'm sorry. I forgot who the other guy was. Was it Ted DiBiase? Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was Ted DiBiase. That's who the other guy, Junior. And so they were a part of Legacy, and the two have been good friends ever since. In real life, they've been friends since then. And we all know the story. Cody went off. He started up AEW with Tony Khan and the Young Bucks and all that there, only to come back and be put on top of the mountain. Randy Orton, he hasn't been on top of that mountain in a while. And so the story writes itself. It writes itself. And that's what's frustrating about this build to this match. They didn't have to go the route they went. And they went this route. It started, the beginning of March on SmackDown. It was a contract signing for the match, for the WrestleMania match. And Orton, he attacked Cody Rhodes. He turned quote unquote heel, even though everybody cheered for it. This was the first time he turned quote unquote heel in about 5 years, where he's hearing the voices in his head. And Orton, he declared he was going to win his 15th world championship at WrestleMania. And so in the weeks following, you have Orton his betrayal. He's constantly on the phone receiving advice from this mystery person. Uh, you know, telling him he needs to be the Viper again. He needs to be the career legend killer. He's hearing these voices. It's so on the other end of this phone. Everybody's wondering who's the mystery reveal. So many names were thrown out there. Chris Jericho, even though he went back to AEW, so that was debunked. Was it Ted DiBiase? Maybe, or was it? I even heard Vince McMahon as a rumor. Vince McMahon. Nah, I don't see that happening. But it was all of these rumors. But who was it? It was Pat McAfee. He was revealed as the call on the other end of the line. Uh, After on SmackDown just a couple of weeks ago or last week, whenever that was, McAfee attacked Cody Rhodes, gave him a punt kick to the gonads. McAfee stated that he believes WWE is going in a direction that nobody likes. Now, that's the one thing that I agree with Pat McAfee on. And I don't even like Pat McAfee, but I agree with him on that. And that Orton is here to save the business. Now, this is where the story is just dumb. The story is so stupid. Cody, his main run last year, when John Cena turned heel, John Cena wanted to ruin professional wrestling. That was his heel turn. Cody was there to save it. And Cody saved it at SummerSlam when he defeated John Cena. John Cena turned back to a babyface. The colors were back. The music was back. The bright colors were back. Hustle, loyalty, and respect was back because Cody Rhodes, he triumphed over the evil John Cena, saving professional wrestling. Now, all of a sudden, you are to lead me to believe that Cody Rhodes is ruining pro wrestling? And this is what Pat McAfee is saying. This is the angle that they're pitching. And that Randy Orton is going to save it. Randy Orton is going to bring it back to the Attitude Era. Randy Orton wasn't around in the Attitude Era. How can he bring it back? It was stupid. The story wrote itself. These two have been teetering for a brawl since Cody returned, since Orton came back from his surgery. It's been teetering, and you should have just went with it. Trusted the story. Trusted these two storytellers to tell a story. Cody Rhodes is one of the best storytellers in wrestling. He gets it from his father. And so he can tell this story. It's dumb. Anyway, regardless of all that, who do I think will win this match? Once again, to be fair, I don't care because they made me not care. I wanted to care, but they made me not care. But with all that being said, I think Cody Rhodes will retain. But I also think that is going to be some shenanigans. Obviously, it's got to be. This can't be it. Pat McAfee can't be the X factor of this main event. Pat McAfee? No, it's got to be something else there. I'm not saying The Rock, which was another name rumored to be calling Randy Orton, which would have made sense, because of the final ball stain and all this, even though he ruined WrestleMania last year. But I would have accepted that. But this can't be it. Can't be it. But knowing WWE, this is it. This is it. There will be nothing else. There will be no Kevin Owens returning. There will be none of that, which also was a name that I would have went with. That was my guess, actually. Kevin Owens as the man on the other end of the line, talking up Randy Orton, because let's not forget, before Kevin Owens went out, with his neck surgery, he was beefing with Cody Rhodes. And he was scheduled to have a match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania before he got hurt and whatnot. It had to have the surgery. And so incorporating him into this story made all the sense in the world, but don't know his status. That probably was a pipe dream. But Pat McAfee, nah. But I think it's gonna be Cody in the end. If it's Randy Orton, cool, whatever. I'm actually kind of tired of seeing Cody with the belt, but I don't need to see Randy Orton with 15. Nothing against Randy Orton. Love Randy Orton. Randy Orton is awesome, but I don't see where that moves the needle in WWE. And so that's night one of WrestleMania 42. Let's go into night two. We're already an hour into this show, or over an hour into the show. We're gonna fly through, at least attempt to fly through night two of WrestleMania 42. Night two, we kick off with the my most anticipated match of WrestleMania weekend: Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. This is going to be awesome. I am so hyped up for this match. This match came to be when Brock Lesnar came out on Raw way back in February. I say way back, but now he came out on Raw along with Paul Heyman, and they questioned who was man enough to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Paul Heyman claimed that no one had the courage to do so, and after revealing his upcoming schedule, Brock Lesnar's schedule, Heyman stated that anyone who wants to face Brock Lesnar in an open challenge at WrestleMania would just need to show up. And so the next month, it took a month. The next month on Raw, Obafemi, the ruler, after Brock Lesnar was about to attack Seth Rollins, he marched to the ring. Brock Lesnar was momentarily distracted by Seth Rollins as he left the ring. Brock Lesnar turns around. Obafemi hits him with the fall from grace, putting his foot on Brock Lesnar's chest and pointed to the WrestleMania sign. That match was made official for WrestleMania, and every week leading up to it has been unbelievable. They are really putting Obafemi over, and shots out to Brock Lesnar, because at least me personally, I look at Brock Lesnar as somebody being pretentious in a way, if that's the right word. Somebody. I'm not putting nobody over. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm Brock Lesnar. I don't care who you are. I'm not putting you over like that. Thinking back to Braun Strowman, he did not put. I mean, he actually buried Braun Strowman, but Oba, he's allowing leading up, the build up to this match. He is letting Obafemi work him week in and week out, and I'm loving it. And I got so much respect for Brock Lesnar. Now, I always did, to be honest with you, because if you think back to when him and Daniel Bryan had their match at Survivor Series a few years back, I thought that was an amazing match. Him and AJ Styles had a phenomenal match. Brock can work with it, pretty much anybody, if you really think about it. And he lets workers work. He's not too stuck up to let guys get their moments, get their shots in, even get a win over, putting them over. And I don't know if that's going to happen at WrestleMania, but what he did with Oba leading up to this really built up this match, and it is worthy of a main event. They should have switched it. I honestly thought they should have switched this with the Cody Randy Orton match and put this in the main event at night one, honestly. But It is what it is. At least we're getting it at WrestleMania. I think, I think my prediction for this match, I think it's going to be over. It kind of has to be over because you want to build over up. But this can also end in a disqualification or something like that, no contest, something like that. Now, if Oba wins, I think Brock Lesnar is done. I think he's taking off the boots and leaving it in the ring. Because I know he has mentioned retirement coming up. I don't know if he's going to let Oba Femi retire him or not. I don't know. But who else will retire Brock Lesnar? Think about it on this roster. Who? Gunther? I guess Gunther, he retires everybody, and we haven't received that match. So that'll be the only other thing. But and they got to make that make sense as far as them going head to head with one another. But which they could, but I don't see it happening no time soon. But anywho's, I think it's going to be Oba coming out victorious in this match to open night 2 to WrestleMania. We move over to match 2, the 6-pack ladder match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, where we find Penta, the Intercontinental Champion, putting his title on the line versus Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Rusev, and a returning Rey Mysterio. Rusev is the one person who doesn't fly. Everybody else flies in this match. That's why it was kind of odd that he was a part of this match, but I guess you wanted to give him a WrestleMania match. Kudos to him on that, but he just doesn't fit. He just doesn't fit in this match. But that being said, neither does Rey Mysterio. And it's because Rey Mysterio, he's old. He's old. It's good on Javon Evans to see him a part of WrestleMania. I think Javon is 21? 21 years old. And here he is in a WrestleMania match, a championship match nonetheless. So kudos to him. Don't think he'll win it. Let me just go into the pick. My pick to win the Intercontinental Championship match in this 6-pack ladder match, I'm going to go with JD McDonough. I'm going to go with the dark horse here. JD McDonough. JD McDonough has been doing some great work, at least in the past. Before he got hurt, he was phenomenal. And still is. He put on some decent matches after. But I like JD McDonough. I want to see more out of JD McDonough. And I don't know. I think this is the spot to kind of give us a shock and awe, to kind of surprise everybody. Because going by my predictions thus far, we haven't really gotten any. And this would be, and I don't see any going forward either. So this would probably be the moment to give us a surprise win, an unexpected win, an unexpected champion. And I'm going to go with JD McDonough winning the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Is it a pipe dream? Most likely. But hey, I just want to put it on record. If it happens, y'all can say, oh, Kevin said that. Yes, he did. Moving on to match number 3, and it is for the WWE Women's Championship. Jade Cargill defends her title against Rhea Ripley. On paper, this looks like a good match. In reality, it does. It's not. It's not. I'm sorry. As much as Jade Cargill looks like a Greek goddess, chiseled from granite, just in absolutely beautiful, she can't wrestle. It's time to put it to bed, bro. She cannot go in the ring, bro. And she can't even cut a promo good. And this is killing me to say this, because nobody wanted Jade Cargill to succeed more than Kevin Reed. but it is not getting there, bruh. She has not improved at all. At all. I, I hope that going forward with her, she got a new clique now with Michin and BFAB. Maybe that'll work with a faction. But by herself is not working. Her with the title is not working. She hasn't defended it. This will be her first defense, if I'm not mistaken, since she won it. So how is this coming to be? Well, at the Elimination Chamber, Rhea Ripley, she won the women's Elimination Chamber match, and after Liv Morgan chose Stephanie Becker, automatically Rhea Ripley had to go up against, and I say had to go up against Jade Cargill at WrestleMania for the WWE Women's Championship. And so this look, Rhea is a beast. We all know it don't make sense going over her resume. She's phenomenal. I think she can get a good match out of Jade. I think it's going to be a decent match. It's probably going to be Jade's best match she ever had. But with that being said, that doesn't take much. It's not going to take much to do that. But Rhea should win this match. But I'm pretty sure that you're going to have Michin and BFAB probably get involved. Who knows? Maybe we get a Bianca Belair sighting. Maybe we get something. I don't know. Anything to make this interesting. Because other than that, there's really nothing. There's no dare there. But my prediction, honestly, I think Jade Cargill will retain the WWE Women's Championship. Number one, I think because Rhea is more interesting chasing the title than she is when she's the actual champion. And I think they're trying to build Jade up. They really are trying to make her a champion. But, they know better too. That's why she hasn't defended the title as much. So she needs to work on her in-ring work a little more. But I think as far as this match is concerned, Jade Cargill will retain in some shape, form, or fashion. The WWE United States Championship. Sami Zayn defends that championship versus Trick Williams. Oh boy. Where do I begin with this one? Well, you have to go back to the first of the year. The first SmackDown of the year, Trick Williams, he comes out, makes his main roster debut. He confronts none other than Sami Zayn. Trick, he taunts Sami for failing at opportunities, failing to win the world title. Sami Zayn responds by telling him he'll teach him how to be humble. Trick and Sami, they qualify for this 4-way match at I think a main event, Saturday night main event, to determine who will be challenging for the undisputed heavyweight championship, or WWE championship, I should say, at the Royal Rumble. However, Trick Williams, he attacked Sami Zayn after his qualifying match. Although Sami did win the fatal 4-way, he failed to win the title at the Royal Rumble. After which, Trick, he would continue to taunt Sami Zayn about losing. Trick, he failed to win the Elimination Chamber match, which in turn made Sami taunt him about about him failing at Elimination Chamber. And then we get Trick. He was ringside during Sami Zayn's match on SmackDown. After a confrontation, Sami attacked Trick Williams. He was tired. He was tired of it. And so the distraction ended up costing Sami the match. And so the next week on SmackDown, Nick Aldis announced that Trick Williams would compete at WrestleMania 42, but didn't say who his opponent would be. And so Sami Zayn also approached Nick Aldis about a match at the event, at WrestleMania. And Nick, he revealed that there was no other spots for him at WrestleMania. So following Trick taunting Sami Zayn even further because he didn't have a WrestleMania match, Sami Zayn attacked Trick Williams again, claimed that he would indeed compete at WrestleMania some way, somehow. And so later on that SmackDown, Sami Zayn challenged Carmelo Hayes for the WWE United States Championship. And Trick Williams, he interfered in the match, but not in the way that he expected. It allowed Sami Zayn to come out victorious and win the United States Championship, much to my chagrin. Nick Aldis, he announced that Sami Zayn would defend that title at WrestleMania against Trick Williams. So the following week, Sami Zayn, he retained the title, assuring that his status is a defending champion at WrestleMania, and it was made official. Look, I don't have a problem with this match. Trick versus Sami. I don't have a problem with that. My problem is the United States Championship, because I felt it didn't need a belt. The championship didn't have to be a factor in this match. And especially at Carmelo, if I could talk, Carmelo Hayes' expense. Carmelo Hayes he finally had a run on the main roster. And we get weeks away from WrestleMania and you take the title off of him. And he's not going to be at WrestleMania. He's not involved in any way. I would have been all right if it was a triple threat match. Because let's not forget, Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes have history going back to NXT. And so there's history there. There's a conflict between Trick and Sami. Sami going, taking the title off of Carmelo. The story writes itself. If you wanted to involve the title, fine. But have Carmelo Hayes involved. Nope. I don't get it. And he had a real cool run with the belt. He had some banger matches on SmackDown. The only thing worth watching on SmackDown was Carmelo Hayes with that title. And what's his reward? He watches from the sidelines. Like I said, I recorded this episode early. Maybe they sneak in a triple threat match leading up to WrestleMania. But as it stands right now, currently, it's not happening. And I think that's a shame, man. That's a shame. I feel bad for Carmelo Hayes in this situation. But as it stands right now, the match between Sami Zayn and Trick Williams, I think it's going to be a good match. Happy for Trick Williams. He killed it down in NXT, and he has been over like a fat rat on the main roster. Whoop that Trick is the new Yeet. And he's a heel, but he's cheered. And Trick has that. Trick has it. Whatever it is, he has it. And I'm happy that not only is he on the main roster flourishing, but he's at WrestleMania in a championship match. Now, will he win that championship? Yes, that's my prediction. I think Trick Williams will defeat Sami Zayn and become the WWE United States Champion. That'll put an end to that feud, and that will start the new feud, well, reunited, I should say, with him and Carmelo Hayes going forward on SmackDown for that title. I think that's how it should go. Now, with me saying that, will it happen like that? No, it will not. But I'm going to stick to my prediction, and I believe Trick Williams will become the WWE United States Champion. We move on to match number 6, the Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio in a grudge match, in a singles match. Uh, a match that's long overdue. It's to the I've been wanting this match. Now that we're getting this match, I'm not excited for this match. They waited too long to give me the match. Bringing the demon back, it wasn't enough to pique my interest. But neither here nor there. I still think it's going to be a cool match because Finn Balor is phenomenal. Dominic Mysterio is sneakily one of my favorite performers right now in all of wrestling. But this feud has been brewing for the better part of 2 years now. Within the Judgment Day, Finn Balor being a part of it, even though he was kicked out. But you got Dominic Mysterio. This goes back to WrestleMania 41 when both competed in a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championship, and Dominic Mysterio won the Intercontinental Championship at last year's WrestleMania. But not only did he win, but do you remember who he pinned in that match? It was none other than Finn Balor. And so despite all that, they continued to coexist. They didn't, it still wasn't any dissension there yet. However, tensions were intensifying. It took about a year, literally a year. Last month on Raw, Finn Balor, he wanted Dominic Mysterio to defend the title that night without any help. And so Dominic agreed. He agreed to do it. And during the title match, Mysterio asked both Finn Balor and JD Madonna to interfere. They was at ringside. He asked them to get involved in the match. But no, as JD Madonna was about to hand the ring bell hammer to Dom, Finn Balor stopped him. And so with that distraction, Mysterio lost the Intercontinental Championship to Penta. So the following week on Raw, Dominic confronted Finn Balor, and he stated that he only wanted Mysterio to fight his own battles, but he realized that Dom was just a spoiled little prick. His words, not mine. And so Dom, he shoved Balor and he attacked him, and he was outnumbered. Finn Balor was outnumbered by the Judgment Day, and he was kicked out of the group in the process. So 2 weeks later, Finn Balor attacked JD McDonough during Rey Mysterio's title rematch versus Penta. And with that distraction, that cost Dominic again the match, and Penta retained the Intercontinental Championship. So the following week, Finn Balor announced that he will face Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania 42. And then the next week on Raw, Finn Balor revealed that he will be wrestling under the Demon persona for the first time since WrestleMania 46. No, 40, not 46, 49. The Demon Finn Balor will return, and the match was made official. Look, like I said, I'm not super excited for it. I think it's going to be a good match, banger match. But I was hoping that Dom still had the Intercontinental Championship. Now, see, this one would have had more weight to it if the title was involved, unlike the Sami Zayn Trick Williams one that I was talking about earlier. I think this would have added a little more weight, but I get why Penta got the title and you got that ladder match and whatnot. That's all fine and good. But as far as this story is concerned, to have Finn Balor come out and win, and beat Dom and become the Intercontinental Champion would have been nice, because Finn Balor as of late has been killing. Well, he always has, but his matches with CM Punk for the title, unsuccessful, but great matches, you know, it proved that he deserves a title. He deserves something around his waist other than those abs. And I would love to see him back in the title picture in some shape, form, or fashion. But maybe this will kickstart that back up. I think the demon Finn Balor will get his revenge and defeat Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania. So the moment we've all been waiting for, especially my voice, is the main event of night 2 and all of WrestleMania. It is for the World Heavyweight Championship. The best in the world, CM Punk, defends the World Heavyweight Championship against the OTC Roman Reigns. This is the Zebros match. And if you watch Zootopia 2, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But these two, this is a feud that has been brewing for years. For years. Before CM Punk even came back, this feud has been brewing. But for consideration of time, we're only going to relegate it to this year. It all begins at the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns won the men's Royal Rumble match, earning a world championship match of his choosing at WrestleMania 42. Roman Reigns, he appeared on Raw, where he was interrupted by CM Punk, the champion, who claimed that Roman could choose the easiest path and face the undisputed WWE champion, or choose the hard path and face him. Punk reminded Roman that he was ultimately responsible for Roman's overall success in WWE, as he was the one who brought him to the main roster as part of the Shield all the way back in 2012. Like I said, this goes all the way back. Punk also outlined how he was a fighting champion in comparisons to Reigns, who barely showed up to defend his title during his previous title reign. Roman Reigns, he expressed his dislike towards Punk, stemming from the comments Punk had made about Reigns on a podcast after he left WWE in 2014, I think it was, which caused fans to turn on him and make his job even harder. And that was during the time of the big dog Roman Reigns, when they were really shoving Roman Reigns down our throat. This is before the tribal chief. And he also brought up Punk the cause for Paul Heyman turning on him at last year's WrestleMania. And he informed Punk that he was ultimately responsible for Punk returning to WWE at Survivor Series in 2023, because management, they consulted his approval, being as though he's the top guy in the company. So they went to Roman Reigns. And so it was a nice little shot there. And so although Roman Reigns had shown respect to Punk after they teamed at War Games last year, and Reigns, he decided that out of the overall hatred for Punk, he would challenge him at WrestleMania 42 for the World Heavyweight Championship. Punk, he retained the title at the Elimination Chamber. This confirmed that this match was a go, and here we off to the races. We've had a pull apart brawl. We've had both men go through tables, get power bombed through tables. We got the Usos getting involved. It's been a lot of shots. I really enjoyed the promo work. I think it went on maybe a week or two too long, and that's not their fault. It's the timing of it. I don't know why they pushed WrestleMania back so far, to the midway, almost to the end of April. It used to be the end of March. I don't know why they pushed it back so far. It's too much time between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, in my humble opinion. And there's a lot of gap filling that's going on, which is causing a lot of the anticipation to wear off. But yeah, it didn't went on a little too long. I'm glad that we're finally here. And so this will be a good match. These are two professionals. These are two pros in the ring. Literally the best in the world in the OTC. And I am excited for this match. My predictions, Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns will defeat CM Punk in this match. CM Punk has had a pretty substantial run with the World Heavyweight Championship. This title, Roman Reigns has not held, to my belief. No, he hasn't held this. So this is the one thing that has eluded the tribal chief. So, hey, what better time than now? Will there be shenanigans? Absolutely. Now, I don't know where it will come from. I don't know who will get involved. It is the main event of WrestleMania, so it won't be just your standard straight up match. And so something is going to happen. I don't know what, and I don't know which way it will sway. Most likely it will come from Roman Reigns' side of the thing. I'm guessing that some variation of the bloodline will return in this match. How, who, or what, or when, or whatever, don't know, but some variation of the bloodline will return in this match, and Roman Reigns will come out victorious and become your new world heavyweight champion. Ooh, boy. So those are my predictions for WrestleMania 42, WrestleMania Vegas, taking place April 18th and 19th, 2 nights, 13 matches, 8 championships on the line. It should be a good one. It on paper, like I said earlier, it looks like it's going to be a good one. I hope, man. I really do. The build up hasn't been great, but hopefully the execution here for WrestleMania will be. I would like to know your predictions for WrestleMania 42. Who do you think will come out victorious in the Roman Reigns CM Punk match for the World Heavyweight Championship? Who do you think will win the undisputed WWE Championship between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, and all of the other matches? What are your predictions? I'd like to know. What's your opinion? Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars. Don't forget about the reviews. And don't forget about sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to Faces and Heels, your podcast for professional wrestling here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for the prediction show for WrestleMania 42. Don't forget to join me after night 1 for the night 1 recap and reaction, as well as night 2 for its recap and reaction. It's going to be a busy weekend, but I'm here for it. It is WrestleMania. Join me then. Until then, y'all be good. Y'all stay blessed. I'll see you then.